Do you know what? I was gonna make the background try to look a little better. I just can't bring myself to like put in that effort. I love how I'm lying to myself, trying to convince myself that I don't care about it when I really do. So today we're gonna be doing my perfect flawless base routine. I'm gonna show you guys, walk you guys through how I get literally the most extremely flawless, glamorous base while still like letting your skin peek through a little bit. If you want your makeup to look more makeup-y, but you still want to feel like yourself, you still want to feel light, you still want to feel fresh. Light, fresh, silly, and cute. And I'm filming this video in daylight. I'm not sure if that's working out in my favor, but I wanted to do it that way just because I really want you guys to like see my skin for what it is in the daylight and just know that like my skin is not perfect either, but it's doing really good because of the products that I'm using. Before we really get into the skincare, I want to talk to you guys about what I've been doing to my skin. It's been allowing my makeup to go on so smoothly, and I know I've heard everyone talk about it, right? Like, you need to include this in your skincare, you need to do this, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. When I started using a retinol, my skin changed, you guys. I'm serious. Like, the thing that scared me about using a retinol is people would be like, oh, you can't, you know, you have to be careful if you don't wear it like in the daytime, like it could cause dark spots if you go out without SPF in the sun. So that kind of scared me for a few years, and I was just like, that sounds like a bit much, right? But then I was like, okay, girl, 30 is approaching. I am 28 years old. I need to get it together, right? I started using this, and this is by one of my favorite skincare brands called Naturally Serious. It's their Sleep Over Retin Oil. So it's an oil. I wash my face in the nighttime, and then I put this on, and then on top of it, because retinols are known to dry out your skin a bit, I go in with the Naturally Serious After Dark Sleeping Cream. It's so hydrating. So this is the oil that I put on first onto my clean skin, and then I go in with the sleeping cream. I had to use it for like a week to really see results, but after my skin like was revealed and I saw, it feels like I have like baby skin again. And that says a lot for someone like me, because I have dry skin that is like very textured. Like, this has just made the biggest difference. It's like literally revealing new baby skin. So I highly recommend you guys need to get your skincare together. Like, find what products work for you. I thought I was using products that worked for me until I started actually using products that worked. And then I was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like. I had to start this routine out with talking about skincare because it's just such a big part of your base looking the way it should. So that's what I do for my nighttime skincare. Even though I still have some breakouts, my skin is not perfect. I get hormonal acne. It looks and feels way better than it did before. And then in the daytime, I go in with this Good Habit hydrating moisturizer. I use my Revive eye cream. That way my under eyes are nice and hydrated. That leaves the concealer going on so nicely. And then of course I finish off with an SPF. This one is by Urban Skin RX, and it's SPF 30. So that's what I have prepped with my skin right now. I'm also gonna apply some lip balm. I have the Linage lip sleeping mask. This is It Cosmetics brand new CC cream. It's their CC Plus Nude Glow. It has SPF 40. I'm in the shade Light, and my obsession with this is I'm healthy. But I love it because I haven't found like a lighter glowy foundation that still gives me the same kind of like full glam effect that I want when I'm doing a full face of makeup. I take my double-ended, this is my It Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe No. 7 brush. This is such a good foundation brush. I'm obsessed with it, and I literally just go in and press that product all over. But like, you can see the glow that it leaves, and it's the perfect coverage, literally the perfect coverage. Like, I would say it's medium to full coverage, because if I wanted to get this full coverage, I can definitely add more product and do that. But the finish of it is so glowy. My skin looks so healthy and just delicious. I want a tiny bit more coverage, so I'm gonna go in with like just not even a half pump, just like a little pinch of more product. And just go over, because I have dark spots here from like leftover acne scars. So I just want a little bit more coverage there. As you can see, it's super buildable, so it just is so nice to work with. Like, oh my god. I can't say enough good things about this just because I truly am so happy with it. I just kind of want to show you guys up close. Look how glowy it looks. I'm covering the sun on my face so you can really see any bit of texture. I do still have texture. My skin is not perfect, and that is normal. It's normal, you guys. It's normal to have texture. If you have texture, it's okay. That is your skin, and you are human, and you're literally so beautiful. I just want you to know that. Surprisingly, I use less concealer than I used to. I used to use a shit ton of concealer, which I'm not mad at. Like, some days I put more concealer than I should, and I don't care because I still look snatched and cute. But the concealer that I love, and I've been using this concealer for a really long time, is the Cover FX Power Play Concealer. Right now, because it's winter and I don't have a tan, I'm in G Light 1. I never noticed how many planes go by. Since I use less now, the spots that I put it in is right here to kind of cover my under eye, a little bit on the side of my nose, and then I just drag it on the outer corner of my under eye to really create that like higher cheekbone effect. I do a little dot on the center of my nose and then a small line at the bridge for like that button nose effect, and then the center of my forehead and my chin. I used to do it like here and here, but I realized it just kind of made my cheeks, like my cheek area, look a little bit muddy. I take my e.l.f. beauty sponge. If you guys have not used this sponge, it is the e.l.f. camo sponge, I believe, and it's only $6, and it is truly phenomenal. And I just blend out my concealer, light little pats. I'm not rubbing or dragging anything. And look how nice and bright that kind of like under eye. I usually get darkness under here, and it just looks so nice and bright. And then I drag a little bit of that inwards, and then I take that last bit of concealer and drag it out towards my hairline. Whatever's left over on the sponge, I cover my eyelid with, just because I have a lot of veins running through my eyelid. Same thing on this side, kind of drag it down by the sides of my nose, drag it over, drag a little bit of that inwards, and then this last bit of concealer, just pat it out towards the hairline. We have the core of our base down. Things are looking glowy, they're looking even. Now is for probably my favorite part of my base makeup, and that is cream bronzer and cream blush. Both of mine are from Fenty, the Fenty cream bronzer and the Fenty cream blush. I use the bronzer in the shade Honey Glaze. The reason why I love this one is because it's in a pan. I don't really like cream bronzers in a stick that you apply directly to your face, and even if it isn't a stick, I'm still going to put it on a brush before I put it onto my skin. I have tried it because obviously it's trendy to take that stick and just draw that line, and it's really satisfying to blend it out. But whenever you do that, even if it's the world's creamiest product, you always risk lifting your foundation with, you know, the product that you're swiping onto your skin, and it could create patchiness. It could just leave things not going on the most even, and I'd rather not risk that and just avoid it and use my handy dandy brush. Again, it's the Fenty cream bronzer in the shade Honey Glaze, and I picked this up on a Fenty 125 face brush. This is just a nice slanted, super dense brush that really packs and blends the product out in like the most flawless way. I try to load up the brush nice and even. I place my bronzer right in this area. So this would be my typical contour, but I like to go right above it, right there. So I kind of just like do little pressing motions, and I also push it back into my hairline as well, and I go around the perimeters of my forehead and in this kind of like area. It really just lifts up my cheekbones and it just looks like so good. Like I don't know how to explain the science behind it, okay, but it works. And it really just like rounds out those cheekbones and keeps them lifted. So it's like it creates these shadows here and just keeps it high, keeps the shadows high up, so my face is lifted and there are shadows created. And because this tone is very warm, it brings that bronziness, that warmness to my skin. Whatever's left over on my brush, I kind of just lightly brush it on the sides of my nose. Now this is very important. Between every cream step, I like to go in with my beauty sponge and just work at the edges to make sure everything is nice and blended. So let's say like this is the edge of where I put the bronzer, or that's the edge. I kind of just work at it in light little taps to make sure everything is smoothly blended. I want my skin to look really blurred, and just tap at all the edges, make sure it's nice and pressed into my skin. Okay, we are exactly where I want to be. Yes, my first favorite part is cream bronzer. My second favorite part is cream blush. Look how stunning this is. Like, I used to be such a peachy girl, but for like these colder months, I have been loving a poppin' pink blush. I feel like that's super trendy right now as well. This is Fenty cream blush in the shade Bikini Martini. It is like that bright, cool toned, kind of like bluish pink that just looks so delicious on my skin. I literally feel like a doll when I put this on. The brush that I use, which I will not use any other brush to apply my cream blush, it is so perfect. It applies my blush so like effortlessly and smoothly. It is Morphe M427 brush, and what I love is that it's like the dual fiber, so it has both textures. It has like these synthetic fibers up here and then these little black bristles to kind of like really pack in the product, and this kind of just blends it out perfectly. So you don't want to just like pack too much product on. You want to make sure that the bristles are drenched with the product. So just like working the product into the bristles, picking up a little bit more, and then I can go on to my cheek. Right on the tops of my cheekbones. So like 1, 2, 3. And I work it a little bit around here as well. But the first place that I put is right here. So at first I press it in like how I'm doing now. And just already like you can see how so like that color is just so cute. And I hope this sunlight is not too much. So I press it on first, and then I do little circular motions with the very tip of the brush, and I kind of just push it back into the bronzer. So I really want my blush to seamlessly blend into the bronzer. So I do light circular motions to really get like that perfect airbrushed look. So again, right on the tops of my cheekbones, boop, boop, boop. Those are the areas that I'm focusing on. I pat it on first, and then I go lightly with the tips of the bristles and blend it back into each other. So keeping that blush right there. Okay, so those are all the cream products. I have foundation, concealer, cream bronzer, and cream blush. Now I'm ready to set my face. So before I set, I go back with my beauty sponge, and like I said, after every cream step, I like to go over any edges just to tap, 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 and make sure things look nice and blended and nice and seamless. This is a little step that is gonna make a big difference. I'm also going to blend out any creases that might have been created from the cream products just sitting there. And it's also nice to go in and remove any excess product and just like push the concealer back into my skin. OG, nothing's changed here. I use my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, and I take the other side of my sponge. Again, I love this sponge because of the shape. It just fits so perfectly right where I need it. And I just press that right underneath my eye, and I drag out while like kind of flipping the sponge this way to elongate that area right above my cheekbone. So press that in there and then move it out. And I kind of want some excess product because I move that around the rest of my face. I set the top of my nose, center, and chin with whatever's left on the sponge. Also my upper lip. But you can see I do have that excess powder left over underneath there. Then I take my EcoTools powder brush and I just take whatever is left. I kind of press it in, but I'm also swiping a bit, and I move whatever product of powder is left all over my face. Now the reason why I do this is because I don't want to use a separate powder to mattify my whole face. I feel like let's say I take my Charlotte Tilbury powder and put it all over on top of baking underneath my eye with my translucent powder, it'll just become too matte, and I'll lose that kind of like youthful glow that I really want to keep. I don't want to super mattify everything, so I take whatever excess product is left underneath my eyes, I kind of press it in and almost load up the brush with it, and then I press it all over my face, and whatever like the brush caught from that extra product is going to be moved around the rest of my face, and that's all I do to set my entire face before going in with the rest of my powder products. Now I go in with bronzer, a powder bronzer, just to set and kind of redefine the colors of the cream products that I put. So I use my IT Cosmetics powder bronzer. This is in the shade Beach. I'm also running low on this. Oh my gosh, I need new products. I take my Real Techniques. This is a blush brush, but for blush for me this is way too big, so I just circle it in the powder and I dust it off, and then I do like a light circling motion all over the perimeters of my face, same areas that I put in that cream bronzer. And I just kind of go in and I'm like lightly dusting it, just because again I want that really natural blown out effect. I don't want any harsh lines. Lightly, I love the shape of it because it's like a super dome shape, so I can really just get that like super light airy look. And notice I keep the bronzer pretty high. I'm not like going down here and working it in. I'm keeping it up here because I want my cheekbones to be lifted, not dragged down. Now for powder blush, I have my BH Cosmetics Vanilla Strawberry Truffle palette. I don't think they have this on the website anymore, but I'm gonna try to link a similar one for you guys. This palette is honestly amazing and super affordable, but they don't have it anymore. Anyway, I use this blush right here. Again, it's like that super cool tone, bright pink color, and this is also a BH Cosmetics blush brush. And I just load up the brush with that, tap off the excess, and use little light circling motion to work that blush back into the bronzer. And you see how smooth it looks? I'm keeping it pretty high up on the cheekbones because I want it to be lifted and snatched. Now I take my NARS Orgasm on the Beach palette, and I use this to highlight right here. Highlight I'm not too picky about. You can really use any highlight that complements your skin tone. So I always go in with the highlight. I also put it on the bridge of my nose. As you might notice, the highlight kind of dulls down the blush a little, so I always like to take my blush brush and just go over the blush. So I take my blush brush, no new product, and I just, that's the end of phase one of my base. Now I go in with my Cover FX High Performance Setting Spray. I like to use this long wear setting spray because it helps my makeup last. This is the best one. Like, I use this for all of my brides that I do makeup on. If you want your makeup to last, you need this. It is so good. Like, it really makes my makeup last. It's kind of like, it feels like hairspray for the face, but not as intense, obviously. Just spray a little bit on. And I let that dry down. Now, at this point, I do my eyes and put my lipstick on. So I'm gonna go finish my eyes off of camera, and then I will come back and show you guys the very last step that I do for my base that really ties it all together and just makes it like, I am back. It's actually been about 2 hours, 2.5 hours since you last saw me. And the eyes are super dramatic because I had to film a campaign for the eye makeup, so ignore this is separate. We're focusing on the face right now. It still looks amazing, but there's always one last step that I do, and that step is I like to set my under eye for like a little bit of brightening, but this just makes such a big difference, especially after my last step before this was putting my setting spray on. So I like to take my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder. Longest name ever, like why? This powder is so stunning. It is one of my favorites. Now I know Charlotte Tilbury is very, very pricey, super expensive, but if there's anything that you need to try, it is this. I feel like this makes the biggest difference in my makeup looking like airbrushed and flawless. So I use this at the very end after I've baked under my eye and set my face, finished my entire face. Even after setting powder, usually I'll do it right away and I won't like go for 2 hours and finish some eye makeup, but I'll go ahead and set my face and then I wait for that setting powder to dry. And then once the setting powder is completely dry, I take my Real Techniques setting brush. This is such a perfect brush for like underneath my eye. It just fits perfectly under there. I take a little bit of this, tap it off, and then I just go right underneath my eye. I press it pretty much everywhere that I put concealer, a little bit on the side of my nose. And not only does this kind of brighten my under eye, but it also really blurs my pores. I'm not sure if you guys can see the difference on camera, but it just makes my under eye look so flawless and snatched. And I always like to press it underneath here and then I take it back right underneath that eye area there where I usually blend my concealer back into. And it is just like, it's just so good the way this powder goes on. And when I take photos with this powder, it is just like, that's when people ask me like, how do you do your makeup? Like, what are you using? You can already see the difference. This looks a little more textured and this just looks like airbrushed and smooth and just, So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this eye. I just press it. I also press it on the side of my nose. And it's just like instant blur, instant airbrush look. This is what really brings my makeup together, not for nothing. Like, for some reason, it just looks even better when you put it on top of setting powder. Once the setting powder dried, I don't know, something about it just really like glues all together, just meshes all in the right way. This makeup always lasts me all night. Like, this is my night out makeup. This is like when I'm going all out, baby. So I hope you guys try this out. Let me know what you think in the comments. What's your favorite part of this makeup routine? And if you end up trying this, you have to comment below and let me know how it turns out for you guys. And I hope you enjoyed this. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram and TikTok because I'm super active on those two over there. So yeah, I just want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed my flawless makeup base and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.